Welcome to my YouTube channels. Today is my topics collection. So today I am going to talk about collection and it is one of the most important interview questions. So I am going to discuss today everything in depth about the collections. How to use collection, what is collection, and also I am going to show you every methods related to collection and also what is the difference between collection and collections. Everything I'm going to discuss about in this. So let's start now. So first of all you have to know about it, the collection, important method of the collection. So first of all, collection is what? Collection is nothing but it is a class. I hope you know about it. But if you take only collection, not S, then we can say this is interface. So this is interface and this is whole collection. So be carefully, interviewer can ask you, Acha, okay, tell me collections and collection. What is the difference between them? So just tell, if you say collection, it is a interface and collections, it is called class. So the collection interface is one of the root interface. Root in the sense we can say it is one of the top, that is called root of the Java collection classes. The general method list of the collection interface is faces. So I am going to discuss about some related methods in the collections classes is boolean add. So add is one kinds of the methods. Booleans add all, clears, boolean contains all. So through this add method we can add the data in collections. Add all, we can add collections, collection object we can add. And clear method we can clears, you can remove everything. Contains, it means you can find out something. Contains all, you can find out something. Equals, you can compare this. Hash code, we can print the hash code of the collections. Is empty, you can check it's empty or not. Iterator is nothing but it is a one of the class, it is a one of the interface. Through this we can iterate the collection. Remove, we can remove the object. Remove all, we can remove the collection of the object. Retain all, you can write something. Size, you can find the size. We can to array, we can convert to array, we can convert any collection to the array. So like that, so many methods are there available in this collection interface. I am going to discuss about in next video one by one every methods. Okay, the list interface. Okay, I am going to talk about list. So list is nothing but it is one kinds of the interface, and this is the list implements, not implements, extend the interface collection interface. Okay, so java.util.list interface is a subtype of java.util.collection. Okay, interface and represent an ordered collection. Interface is representing like a order collections and sometimes called a sequence. Okay, so we can access the list interface like through the randomly and also through the index number. It means we can access the elements of the list, okay, specific orders and by an index too. It's allow duplicate object and one or more elements to null. Okay, so it means that you can insert null value also in collection, no problem. The user of this interface has precise control over where the list each element is inserted and can access element by their integers index position, okay, and search the element in the list. So everything it's about the list, and we can say what is the implementation class of the list. Implementation class of the list. So list having some implementation, and how can you implement the list? List is nothing but it is a one of the interface. So we can choose between the following list implementation in the Java collection API. So list is a one interface and this interface, this array list, linked list, vector and stacks are the implemented this list. This is implementing. All these are the classes. These are all are the classes, and these are implementing this list. So everything available in list class, it's by default coming inside the array list, linked list and vector and a stack. Here are the few examples of how to create a list, and I am going to discuss about next everything one by one. So be careful. I am going to give you brief introductions about it right now, but in more video I will discuss about one by one explanation with coding. Here are the few examples of how to create a list instance. Okay, so as you know, you can't create a list instance. You can create only object of the implementation class, because list is an interface, and interface having a limitation, we can't create the object of the interface. I hope you know about it. Okay, so list a equal to new array list, it's a implementation class. List b equal to new linked list, it's a implementation class, it's a implementation class, it's a implementation class. But through the new keyword we can create the object of this, an instance of this. Now one of the class is ArrayList. So ArrayList is very important, and I am going to talk about ArrayList in the very depth through the explanation. ArrayList implements a list interface, as you know already, because ArrayList is a class and this class implements a list interface. Okay, ArrayList capacity grow automatically. It's a very good advantage, and array having a disadvantage, so that disadvantage are removing this ArrayList, and that is the profit and advantage. The ArrayList is not a synchronized. Okay, no problem. ArrayList is not a synchronized and vector is a synchronized, as you know. If this is a synchronized, ArrayList is synchronized, then not synchronized, then multiple object can access at a time, multiple thread can access at a time, like that happen. It's permit all elements including the null. Okay, it's fine. ArrayList are the created with an initial size of 10. So by default you are not defining the size of ArrayList, but you have to decide the size when you are creating the array. So this is one of the limitations in array, and you are going to remove through the ArrayList. So ArrayList, you doesn't maintain the size, it's automatically defined the JVM, it's a 10 byte created by the 10, size is 10, and after automatically it's growing. You already know about it. Automatically growables, so it is growables time to time, it's if it is full. When the size is exceed, when the size is exceed, it means you are already up to 10, then the collection is automatically enlarged. When objects are removed, the array may be shrink. Okay, creating the ArrayList object. How to create the ArrayList object? We can create ArrayList object in the two way. Okay, how? First is without using the type parameters. It means including the generics, without including the generics. ArrayList city equal to new ArrayList. It is old way. But right now using the parameter new recommended way, and that is called with generic. So ArrayList of a string city equal to new ArrayList of a string. So this is nothing but it's a generic angular bracket. Angular sign is nothing but it's a generic, and in this generic you are defining the anything that is object, and you are restricted, and you are making the type safe of the collection, and you can store only in ArrayList a string type value. You can't store integers, float, doubles, any others object. So that is the limitation, and this is the rule to maintain the ArrayList in the one way. You can store a student data here in this ArrayList, and you can store only a student data. You can't store any other data. So that is the recommended. Right now it's going on. Okay, so this is called a type parameters. This is called a type parameters. This is called a generic also. And this is called array list of empty array list with initial capacity of 10. I hope it is clear. Both are the permitted but type safe generic. Type safe, it's a type safe only. Generic is recommended because of enhanced type of the safety. Okay, putting element in array list. How can you add elements in array list? You have a method called add, and it is available on collection classes. To insert elements in the array list, we can call its methods, and this is override methods in array list. So we can easily use the prototype of this method is public booleans and add of object, and here we can add any object like a student object, table object, cat object, dog object, animals object, anything object you can store. For example, city.add Bhopal. So we can add Bhopal, we can add Delhi, like that we can add so many things. And city is nothing but it is one of the collections. Previous you are creating like that. Here, you just look at this cities. We can store here the value. The size of increase when the element is added, and every time its size is increases when the value is added. This is the program. How can you add the value in array list? Import java.util. It's available in this class, in this package. Okay, and class ArrayList demo. It's my own class, and public static void main args ArrayList we can create like that. ArrayList object, and just add the value city.add Bhopal, city.add Paris, Delhi, and just print array list of elements are cities. So city dot to a string automatically called because array list having a one method called to a string. So everything will be displayed automatically. I hope it is clear. So output is array list elements are Bhopal, Paris, and Delhi. Like that, we can get it. This output is coming from the toString methods of the array list. I know already. Checking the size of the array list. How can you check the size of array list? It's a full or not. The size of the array list in Java, total numbers of the elements currently stored in array list. That is called size of the array list. To get the size of array list, we can call its method size. So array list having a one method called size. Through this size, we can find out the size of this array list. This is prototype of this method is public int size. And how can you use these methods? Int, it is a return type of the int. So int size equal to city.size. So city having how many data are available currently, we can print. So right now 3. So 3 is printed. Okay. Retrieving array list element. How can you get the element of the array list? How can you, if you want some data in the array list, then how can you get? So through the get method we can find out and we can get the data inside the array list. To get the element from the array list, we can call get methods. It is a prototype public object get index of. So you just pass the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 anything, and it will return the object of whatever are available. If index is out of range, then is throw exception, index out of bound exception. If you are accessing some value which index is not available, then it say index out of bound exception. Okay, example, a string s equal to city.get of 0. So it is printed, and if you say s system.out.println s, so s having a stored Bhopal, so storage printed. I hope this is clear, and I hope you will like this video. And through this I am going to again in next video I'm going to discuss the very depth. If you want this slide, you just comment in these sections and put your email ID. I will give you this slide. Okay, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe. Note that we didn't have to typecast return the value a string since we have used the type safe. Okay, thanks. Please subscribe my channel.